First thing I like to do when I cook, I like to put a nice edge on the blade. Get a nice sharp edge. You guys cut your onions the way you do. I'll cut the onions the way I do. I'm going to do it 2 different ways. See what you guys like better. There's 2 different ways to cut onions. And I don't think there's a wrong way. But for this recipe, you're going to need a lot of onions. So I'm going to start with 2, see how my pot looks. And I don't mean the smokable kind. So, 2 different methods of the madness. Okay, so I watch a lot of cooking shows. I watch a lot of different ways people cut their vegetables, especially onions. Onions are a little bit difficult sometimes, especially if your knife's not sharp. Okay, so here's how I'm going to do mine. I'm going to do it real nice and thin. Helps them break down in the pot when you're cooking. Uh-oh. Notifications. There you go, see? Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Of course the skin fucking comes off. Alright. What you don't see is in the pot, I already put some olive oil down in there. And that helps with caramelizing your onions. In this case, you want to cook the onions a little bit slower. This is a slow cooking process. So when you buy your bratwurst, you can buy whatever brats you like. I personally get mine fresh from the deli, which means they're freshly made within a couple of days. And some people like their specific brats. I mean, some people like Johnsonville brats, some people like bullshit brats. I like fresh brats, freshly made. So if you really want to spend some time, you can go up to the Brat Stop in Kenosha. They got some really good brats. But a lot of times their shit's frozen, which means who knows how long it's been in the freezer. So that's 1 onion. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, you can see that. Get a little washout from the light above, so. And that is 1 solid onion in there. And that looks like we're going to need 2 onions to me. Cooking about 12 brats here. And these brats are big when they come out of the deli, so they're nice and long, girthy. You know what I mean? Don't be shy. Everybody likes a girthy sausage. I should be very clear that this is going to be an inappropriate video. That's not true. Okay. Now, some people like to cut their onions this way. I don't know what the difference is. I don't have a preference. Go against the grain. I go with the grain. I believe this is against the grain. Honestly, after you're all done being cooked, you're not going to be able to look at that onion and see which one was cut which way or not. So, for conversation purposes, I think this is probably fine just the way it is. You got to be very careful when you get down to the last bit here. Try not to cut your fingers off. Now you get to cut my finger off. Been cooking for over 30 years. I'm going to do this recipe a little bit different this time just because I have some extra veggies that I need to use. So we're going to throw them in just for shits and giggles. Let's see how it turns out. But I normally don't alter my recipes too much just because I know there's always an unknown variable that I've added and I don't know what happened. In this case, I have a green pepper that's going to go bad, so I'm going to throw it in. Everybody cuts their peppers a certain way. This is not meant to be fancy. This is just for flavor. I don't feel bad about it. Okay. So, while I'm finishing up these cutting, I'm going to get the fire going. Again, I put some olive oil in the bottom of the pot, so it's already in there. We're going to throw in some garlic. Yes, of course, I already have garlic in there. But, in my opinion, you can never have enough garlic. So there you go. And get those nice. So if you watch Roy Choi at all, he does a lot of cooking with onions, and I've learned from him that you want to jam your onions, not caramelize. And if you don't know the difference, look it up. It's worth the watch. A little bit of butter. Okay. It's important not to salt these just yet. You want to make sure this cooks. You want to break this down a little bit before you start throwing the salt and pepper in here. A little more olive oil, just for good measure. For all you garlic lovers out there, I don't know how much garlic you guys go through, but I go through about 6 heads a week sometimes, it seems like. I go through garlic pretty fast. But I use a shit ton of it, so. Alright, we're already getting some action on these onions. Let's see what we got. So flame down a little bit. This is one of those cast iron Dutch oven kettle style pots. They're nice. They're perfect for a lot of different stuff. I use this thing for deep frying. I use this thing for gravy. I use this thing for just about everything. And as you can see, I got some wear in there already. I got some stains. I got some love. All right, there you go. So we'll let that cook down a little bit. We'll start peeling garlic. You guys can chime in here. How do you guys peel garlic? I like to wait until the garlic is just like, it just pops. You hear that pop sound? That's how you know, in my opinion, that's when the garlic is at its best. Unless you get it from the farmer's market and you get some of that purple garlic. I'll tell you what, I can eat that purple garlic raw. That stuff's so good. There you go. Get that skin the pot free, comes right off. I've got a lot of real easy garlic ideas or ways to peel the paper off fast. I got those stupid little purple rollers, silicone roller which de-skins it fast. I tried the shake concept in a plastic tub like one of you guys. It works. I don't know which is better. I think honestly, some people like to smash your garlic. You take the top right off. Depends what you're using it for. Comes off pretty easy. You can use a fish trick too. You can take the garlic, put it in a container. This tends to work pretty good. See? Comes right off. Whatever. I don't really have a preference. Some depends on the day. Depends on the level and the status the garlic is in. If the garlic's older, sometimes the skin never comes off. That's why I like the smash concept, because the smash concept will, the smash concept really works good. I'll show you that in a second here. You guys haven't used these flexible cutting boards, they're pretty nice. The only thing I don't like about them is when you get to move, when things start sliding around on you. So you take the garlic, do a little tappy tap, and that breaks the skin loose also. So, you know, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. Which one gets a good amount of blood on the floor? What do you guys do with these little piddly pieces of shit? I don't want to do with those too often. I have too much time on my hands and I gotta sit here and peel many tiny garlics. I buy the bigger the heads, that way I have guaranteed at least 80% of the garlic that I'll use. Sacrificial 20%. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. This looks pretty bad. Alright, here we go. Don't worry about the garlic, we're going to use all of them probably. Maybe, probably, most likely, not sure yet. Alright. Okay. Now. This is what I'm talking about. They're nice, they're quick and easy, but when you want to do some real blade work, this thing slides around too much, which is not my favorite. Okay. So, give this a stir, see where we're at. And basically what you want to do is you want to get these onions to cook down. And you'll know the difference because if you're just caramelizing, you're burning them and you don't want to burn them. What you want to do is you want to get the moisture out of the onions. When you get the moisture out, you'll see the difference because that's when it's like if you've ever done jamming or if you've ever jammed fruit, what you get is just like a liquefied version of what you started with. These onions will turn into like almost like a mush, which is kind of neat to see. Good. I wasn't going to throw these tomatoes in, but I think I talked myself out of it, so we're not going to put that in there. Other two main ingredients. Obviously, we're using bratwurst today. Look at the size of these bad boys. Blammo. Look at that. Jesus. Beautiful brats. Beautiful. I've been watching a lot of cooking shows, and I watch like Binging with Babish and Gordon Ramsay and all these guys, you know, and they got a lot of really great, like their own personal cooking methods, which is kind of cool to watch and learn from. But at some point, you kind of have to learn your own way. Okay. Just for reference, that's about 5 pounds of bratwurst, I believe. Yep. Exactly 5 pounds of bratwurst. Sounds like a lot. All right. Final key ingredient. Now this is where I draw the line. So you have to use beer. You're going to use beer and it's going to sit in there for a while. These are going to slow cook. And what's going to end up happening is is that beer is going to cook down with the onions. You're going to rob the sausage of all of its fat content, and you're going to end up with this real heavy base onion mixture, and it is amazing. I'm not going to lie to you. If you try this recipe, I've had Germans teach me this recipe, and it's really good. What they use, though, is they'll use typical German beer, like a good Pilsner, which I'm completely against. So in my opinion is, I prefer the barrel-aged stouts. You can use a regular stout, which is fine. I don't recommend Guinness. Guinness is not a stout. For all of you beer aficionado wannabes, Guinness is not a stout. Guinness is an ale. It's a black ale. Everybody believes it's a stout until they drink a stout, and then they're going, holy shit, Guinness sucks. What have I been drinking this shit all my life for? When I was growing up and didn't know anything about beer, I drank Guinness. I drank Fast Ale. I drank Newcastle. I drank all kinds of good beers, but can't go back to that shit anymore. My palate has since graduated to the better parts of beerhood, brotherhood. Everybody thinks that makes you a little douchey. It does a little bit, but the reality is that your palate just becomes used to a certain level of quality, and that's all it really is. So what the only way around that is just not open your mouth. Don't say anything about why you like certain beers, or who makes a better beer, and blah blah blah. I appreciate all the different beers. I appreciate all kinds of IPAs, New England style IPAs, stouts, brown ales. I stay away from the barley wines, and I stay away from meads, even though it's not really among the beer line. I've never been a fan. Okay, so these are really cooking down nicely. I'm going to turn the heat down real low. Now's a good time to salt the onions. It's getting to a point where I see a little bit of gravy on the bottom. So that's telling me that the moisture is breaking out of the onions. So you want to make sure you use a lot of salt. I don't necessarily care what kind of salt you use. I'm just using regular kosher salt that I grind. One of my favorite salts to cook with. And just some black pepper. It's obviously to taste. You can taste it now while it's cooking. You'll get a good idea what it's going to taste like when it's done without the beer. Once the beer is in there, it's a whole new world. Okay, give us a good stir. Let's see where we're at. You also know when you're doing it right, when you get these little skins of the onions that end up on the spoon. Can you see those? That's how you know you're cooking them down correctly. I've learned that. Now this has got a nice garlic, onion aroma. I don't get any pepper aroma at all. Normally they're pretty fragrant. This is not. I didn't mention what kind of onions I used. I used just a standard yellow onion, nothing special. You can use whatever you like. Red onions, it's a different flavor profile. You kind of want some sweetness, and this will provide you some sweet flavor. A lot of people give me shit about the salting, and until you learn about salt, you can't really judge how much salt you use when you cook. When I cook red meat, I use a lot of kosher salt, and really part of that's to break down the meat, break down the membrane in between the tissue, and then also to tenderize the meat, obviously. And then once it's done, you just rinse all the salt off, and you don't get much salt flavor on the steak when it's cooked, because whatever's left, you'll cook off. All right, so you can probably see that this is cooked down real nicely. So this is a lot less volume in the pan than what I started with. That's when you know you're getting this onions that break down correctly. The next magic step, insert your brats into the pan. Now it doesn't make a difference how you move here. I'm just going to layer them in so that way I cover the onions as much as possible. And they're going to not fit all in one shot, so I'm going to have to obviously layer them. And then look at this Madam Jammer. Jesus. Okay, those are in. Now the beer. I'm going with a particular beer that I won't drink anymore, so that way, that's the reason why I'm cooking it. This is a, if you're not familiar with Goose Island, or InBev. These are 2017 Bourbon County Stouts. Before you put them in, especially if you age stouts like I do, make sure it's not bad in the bottle. You'll know it right away. It'll smell, it won't smell fishy. It'll smell like almost sour. This one tastes just fine. Bourbon County Stout, a lot of chocolate, a lot of bourbon barrel flavoring. And don't be shy with the beer. Just pour it right in. People are probably going, oh my God, I can't believe you're using Bourbon County. It's the best beer. It's not the best beer. It's the best beer for the price point, I'll say that. Alright, and what the concept here is, you want to submerge the brats in the beer. Okay, you gotta make sure it's completely submerged. Looks like a lot of beer, and it is. I mean, we're talking 30 ounces of stout, which is a lot of flavor. But again, we're slow cooking this. This is gonna cook for a few hours. So, you can see that. We're gonna cover the lid, just leave it crack a little bit in case you get a little bit of pressure and it starts to boil over. Alright guys. Kind of saved you some of the details, but basically all I did was I scraped out as much fat as I could out of the rendering of the onions and the beer. So you can see there's a lot of fat. You don't need all that in there. You want to get as much of that out as you can. Okay, what you have left is the cooked down version of the beer and the molasses of the onions. Now, I can't really explain what this tastes like. You're just going to have to make this on your own and see what you guys think. But I will be honest, this is some of the best onion topping you're going to find that you can put on a bratwurst. Now, you can dress the bratwurst however you like, but this is worth trying. I guarantee if you make this once and you cook it for your family and friends, they're going to love you. Okay, the next trick is getting it out of there. So, what I'm going to do is just put it in a smaller pot. And obviously you can do this many ways, but I'm going to grab the old ladle here. And let's see what we got. Go this way instead. Let's see what's going on there. Look at that. Oh boy. Look at that. May not look appetizing. If you guys know your brats, you know what onions taste like when you're cooked down and rendered, man, I'm telling you, it's like some good eating. There you go. So that renders down from 2 onions, 2 very large onions, and 30 ounces of beer down to about, I want to call that 2 cups, maybe 2.5 cups of rendered beer and onions. You can kind of see there. Of course, Billy Boy's calling me. Billy Boy! You can kind of see what's going on in here. It's beautiful. Here we go, guys. Rods have been chilling out. We're getting ready to sear them. We're going to put them on our griddle. And we're just going to sear these bad boys. You're going to get a lot of...
recording.
You're gonna get a lot of smoke on these things if you're doing it indoors like me. It is recording. AJ got it. AJ's got it. And basically all you're trying to do here is you want to get a little bit of a burn on these bad boys. So get your griddle nice and hot. That's the best way. I like to get my griddle hot. I like to oil it down. Once it's oiled, it's not going anywhere. Give it a couple minutes each side. And really this is just for the final finish look. If you're doing this outdoors, you got a grill going, so it's a little different.
It's crispier, faster.
You get a crispier, faster kind of thing. But these brats have been chilling out, so we want to reintroduce them to the heat, so that way they serve correctly, right? So I got my shit on high. I want to get a nice sear in there. See those sear marks? Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beauty. Don't drop them on the ground like I was going to do there. Nobody likes it brat that's been on the
Bourbon
ground.
Bill's influence on you here.
Bourbon Bill is with us now. He knows some shit about some cooking. Special guest.
Thank you for having us.
We're very fortunate to have them here tonight. And then, once these bad boys have been reheated on the flamage, we are going to be...
And it goes pretty quick, right?
It goes real quick. You don't need a lot of time on the fire. These things are already cooked. And as long as they've been, when you pull them out of the boil, they're nice and soft and tender and they're warm and ready to go.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is you just want to get a nice sear on them. That's it.
That's right.
And it's okay to let them burn a little bit. Get a little burn on those things.
Just bring that crust up to...
Bring that crust up.
Yep. Ooh, beauty.
Look at that. Camera action. You guys see that?
Opa!
Fantastic.
Nice, Age. Beautiful. That's how we raise our kids around here in the kitchen. We teach them.
We don't mess around.
We don't. 5-second rule.
Look at that.
Oh,
Beautiful.
it's beautiful.
Beauty. It's a beauty fish.
Yes. Absolutely.
We have all the people in the background cackling for us tonight. That's awesome. I'm so glad everybody made it out tonight.
Those are our girls, man.
Yeah. Round of applause.
Oh, Lanny dropped it. Pick it up.
Come here, your mom. Here, you can put it on down.
Are we gonna crank up this small batch here or what? Can I open the plastic on it?
It should be open already.
No, but we'll do that.
Oh, it's open. Yeah, that's not
Okay.
Who knew we could have so much fun on the
Oh, you're talking about the sickle. You're talking about this bit.
Fire water.
Fuck yeah, let's open that thing up, man. I gotta take care of these brats while I have that.
You guys do it this.
Look at that sear. That's what you want. You want that nice. You
Ooh,
want that nice burn.
my lord.
You want that burn on there, right?
Jack.
Is cooking not about sharing, right?
Cooking is all about sharing.
It's like making music.
Bring your
art.
family together. Bring
It's
your
all
loved
about
ones
love.
together.
You gotta eat to live, and this is living at its finest.
You gotta give to live.
No doubt about it.
You gotta give to live, Sammy Hagar.
Yes, sir.
You weren't a big Sammy fan, were you?
Big what? Sammy fan? Love Sammy.
Okay. So all there's left to do is plate this some bitch. So we're gonna do it my way. We're gonna show you guys how I do this. Put that brat in that bun. All right.
Smelling that already. Love the smell of
Oh
that.
yeah.
Red onion.
Look at this. We got some of that onion that I've been cooking down.
Ooh,
Put that marmalade right there on top of that brat.
are you kidding me?
If you want some kraut, you go ahead and put some kraut on there. Look at this.
Oh,
Look at that. All right. Look
Mamma
at this.
mia.
You looking at this?
bam.
Then you put some fresh onions on.
You're not done yet? Man, this guy is pro.
Fresh onions. Look at this. And then there's my goddamn mustard. I put it on there. Somebody must have taken it from me. Somebody must have taken it from me. Then you take yourself some ground stone mustard. Look at that. You don't mess around. that, my friends.
These are the
Pour
best.
that for me.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I mean, they're the best or the
Wow,
worst.
Billy, you just
Oh,
grabbed
you
my
Might be too
penis.
much.
I grab your penis.
Yeah. Looks good.
We're real people over here. We're not trying to be all proper, all
Can't
right?
say that. You can't say that.
Oh, we can't say that?
You can't say that.
Looks awesome.
It looks amazing. Thanks for watching, guys.